continue our series, we're trying to nail down this importance of understanding truth, right? The truth is the truth even of what?
No one believes it.
And a lie is still a lie even of what?
Everyone believes it.
And there's a lot of good lies we believe, isn't there? We can hold on to it as if it's fact, right? But we can't do that anymore. So, for this sermon, I'm going to need you. You know. And then, so James on that side. Come on.
Trouble now?
Oh, you don't know the amount of trouble they're in. This is yours. Come on. This is yours. This is yours. Stand up for a while. Get comfortable standing. All right. You guys can stand. Stand. Good. Yeah. All right. So the idea behind this is, and I was asked this question, right? The question was, if the truth is presented to you, will you accept it? Liars. I heard, it will behoove us, right? It will behoove us. But the slowness let me know, maybe not at first, right? But it's okay. All right. Here it is. Where is it? All right. Josh, if I ask you who's the greatest basketball player in the world, what would you say?
Put me in a difficult position here.
Is it?
We're going to say MJ.
You said Michael Jordan, right?
He's definitely one of them.
Michael Jordan. And then if I ask you who's the most clutch basketball player in the world, you say? Michael Jordan. Yeah, killer instinct, right? Yeah, you say that. So that means he has the most points in the history of basketball.
No.
No?
We're not factoring in likability.
Oh, no, that's not. No, most points. That has nothing to do with likes.
Points are overrated.
Points are overrated. Right. If I say to you, Josh loves to drink coffee. And so I said, Josh, according to research, if you wake up in the morning, you eat 2 apples, it's the equivalent of having a cup of coffee. Would you stop drinking coffee and energy drinks?
I don't like apples.
See, the truth is presented, and what happens? We deny it, right? And Michael Jordan is not the greatest basketball player of all time because he does not lead in any statistical categories. We love him because, we grew up with him. But when it comes to stats, he's not. He's far from it.
Well, Kobe.
Not even Kobe. Even the idea of being clutch is still LeBron James, all right? Thank you. So, the problem here is we've bought into this idea that when somebody tells us the truth, we're going to accept it automatically. That's not true. You guys keep standing. I'm going to be here for a while. And so when we get to before we get to our sermon, our text this morning, we got to go back all the way to Joshua chapter 24. Let's hear the Bible being open to Joshua 24. So what you guys are going to do is what you have in your hands are food colorings, right? You all have different ones. So what you're going to do, you're going to open it carefully. And whenever I mention a city or a nation, whenever I mention a different nation, what you're going to do is you're going to dip a little bit into that cup, okay? You ready? Then Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem. And go ahead. There you go. To Shechem and called the elders of Israel for their heads and their judges and their officers. And they presented themselves before God. Ask yourself, how important was this meeting? All the elders, all the leadership were there. The elders, their heads, their judges, their officers, all presented before God. Joshua said to all the people, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, from ancient times your father lived beyond the river, namely Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nahor, and they served other gods." Stop and think. What's happening here? Verse 3. Then I took your father Abraham from beyond the river and led him through all the lands of Canaan. And multiplied his descendant and gave him Isaac. To Isaac I give Jacob and Esau. And to Esau I give Mount Seir to possess. But Jacob and his son went down to Egypt. And I sent Moses and Aaron, and I plagued Egypt by what I did in its midst. And afterward, I brought you out. I brought your fathers out of Egypt, and you came to the sea, and Egypt pursued your fathers with their chariots and the horsemen to the Red Sea. But when they cried out to the Lord, he put darkness between you and the Egyptians, and he brought the sea open, and he covered them. And your own eyes saw what I did in Egypt, and you lived in the wilderness. For a long time. Then I brought you into the land of the Amorites. Who lived beyond the Jordan. And no, that's the river. It's okay. And they fought with you, and I gave them into your hand. And you looked, and you took possession of their land, and I destroyed them before you. Then Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, across and fought against Israel, and he sent and summoned Balaam, the son of Beor, and cursed you. But I was not willing to listen to Balaam, and so he had to bless you. And I deliver you from his hand. And you crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho. And the citizens of Jericho fought against you and the Amorites, against the Amorites, and the Perizzites. Just stick there for a minute. And the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. All right, that's it. Put the cover back on it. Put it back on the table. Thank you very much. You may have a seat. Thus I gave them into your hand, and I sent the hornets before you, and it drove out the 2 kings of the Amorites from before you, but not by your swords or your bow. I give you a land on which you had not labored, and city which you had not built, and you have lived in them. You are eating of vineyard and of olive groves which you did not plant. Remember how we started? This was clean. What happened? It changed colors. Colors. Why? Because we interacted with how many different nations? Plenty. And the thing about it is, when we go to places, we have a tendency to do what? Take some bad things with us. Right? This is what we got left with. And to them, they still thought they were worshiping who? Are they? What are they doing? Worshiping every other places they have been. Right? And so, in verse 14, Joshua will tell them the truth of what they need to be doing. Now, therefore, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and what? Truth. Put away the gods which your fathers served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve who? The Lord. This is no longer God. And so Joshua is telling them to do what? Put this away. All of this got to be put away. You know the funny thing is, if I take this out and I waste it, right, and I pour clean water in there, there's still going to be what left behind? Residue. of the old ways. And some of us have a hard time letting go of certain residue. And they creep back in. So the water is still not clean yet, is it? He says this is not fearing God. If we're worshiping God like this, it is not what? Fearing God. Fearing God, this is still me. This is my comfort. Serving God the way I want to serve him rather than his way. You've heard or you have said this before. I am going to worship God, what? My way. Although you were created to worship, you are not the standard for how you worship. It is God. This is not Burger King. You can't have it your way. But however, you can have it Yahweh. Still looking at that. We need to remove all that we have brought over. That's not easy, is it? There's some habits we've crept in for a long time. We don't know we have, but it's still there. Right? It looks like that. We have to let it go. Every habit that goes against the truth of his word. We need to put away the idols and thoughts that keep us away from God. Here it is. And I got to be really clear with you. Right? It is not by force. This is a choice we must make. I can't make the choice for you. You cannot make the choice for me. So please stop making the excuse because of this person, because of this place, because of that thing, I couldn't worship God. No, you chose not to worship God. It is a free will choice we must make. Aisha made a free will choice last Sunday to say, bye-bye world, hello God. Free will choice. Just like how the tree of knowledge of good and evil was placed where? In the middle of the garden. Why? So every day when they walking past it, they can make for themselves the decision, I choose God or I choose that. This is a choice we must make every day. Some of us think we can do both. Some of us think we can multitask it. This is a great lie. Jesus himself will say in Matthew 6, verse 24, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. See, the problem we have is we have a stronger desire for the world than for God. And it's because over the year, we've developed quite the callous for everything else. Anybody want a drink? Sure, Cedric? It's healthy. It's good stuff. It's blue and green and orange. Right? You don't want it? When it comes to worship, God does not want to share this with anyone nor anything. You know, he was talking this morning and he said the same thing. It just sinking together. This idea that I don't have to go worship God until I'm perfect. You're basically saying you don't need God. Think about it. I hear it. I ask the question, man, I haven't seen you a long time in church. Yeah, when I get my life together, I'm coming to church. You're going to get your life together, then come to church? Do you even know how to get your life together? How are you going to get what don't belong to you together with the one who gave it to you, without the one who gave it to you? Because you're still thinking this, I'm still doing it his way, right? By being a good person. Nobody's good. Other than who? God. We hear people say, oh, 99% of people are good, they just made bad choices. Does that make sense to you? Do good people make bad choices? No, bad people make bad choices. And so we need God in our life. Right? This place is supposed to be for those who are sick, broken, and in need of something. And that thing is God. So you can't tell me when you put your life together, you're now going to come to God. You're telling me you don't need God. Right? In your ignorance. And so, Joshua says, wait, did we forget that God is jealous? How do we forget he's a jealous God? Did you remember what Joshua said? He took you out of this place and out of that place. He fought this battle. You've done everything for this person. And now, this person chooses to share your victory with somebody else. How does that feel? He says, I am a jealous God. He's a jealous God who created and brought you here. So he does not want to share you with anyone or anything. And so we have to choose. In 15 he says, if it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord. Oh, heavens have mercy. I am not forcing you to choose God. He said, if it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourself today whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your father served, whether beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorite in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Doesn't matter what I do. It shouldn't stop you from serving the Lord. It doesn't matter what grace says or what grace does. That shouldn't stop you from serving the Lord. It doesn't matter what Sherry says or what Sherry does. It shouldn't matter, because that should not be the excuse as to why you do not serve God. But you know, it's a good excuse for me not to come to church on Sunday. I love God, but I neglect the assembly. That doesn't make sense. Right? You know what I call their reply or their response in verse 16? They reply with the church answer, the same way we do today. The people answer and said, far be it from us that we should forsake the Lord to serve other gods. Far be it from us. For the Lord our God is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt for the house of bondage, and who did these great signs in our sights and preserved us through all the way in which we went, and among all the people through whose midst we passed. The Lord drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites who lived in the land. We also will serve the Lord, for he is our God. That's the church answer. What they're saying. We got something from the Amorites, we got something from the Jebusites, we got something from these guys, the Canaanites, we got this from these guys. And this is what we have right now, and this is what we're going to serve the Lord. In all our iniquities, we're going to serve who? Ourselves. This ain't God. This is what we gather on our journey. And they're saying this like, we see everything he's done for us. This is where you got to be like a parent. Right? I put food on the table. I put clothes on your back. I put a roof over your head. Whose responsibility is that? Is that the kids or is that yours? Right? But he's going beyond that. He's fighting battles for you. He's winning. He's preparing lands for you. He said, you're eating from a tree you didn't plant. You're living in cities you didn't labor to build. And yet and still, you're choosing something else. But he says it is still your choice. Choose wisely and not performatively, or say that you think what he wants to hear. We forget that he already knows our what? Heart. So who are you performing for? Yourself. Not for him. The people said to Joshua, "No, but we will serve the Lord." Joshua said to the people, "You are witnesses." Hello. Wait, nope, gotta go back up. Gotta go back up. In verse 19, Joshua tells them the truth. Remember when I asked the question this morning, who loves the truth? And then you would accept the truth when it's being said to you? You all said, yes. Then I said, no, and you said, no, that's not true. Joshua said to the people, then Joshua said to the people, "You will not be able to serve the Lord. For he is a what? Holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your transgression or your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve the foreign gods, then he will turn and do you harm and consume you after he has done good to you." Wait a minute now. What do you mean I can't serve God? I just told you I'm going to serve God. Yeah, but you're trying to serve God out of the abundance of your iniquities. Because they haven't put this away yet. They're still carrying this around with them. And to them, they're serving God. And Joshua says, you can't do it at all. Why? Because they're still holding on to the idols they've brought from Egypt. They're still holding on to the idols whose land they're in. They're still worshiping him out of their information, not his. But once again, it's still a choice, right? Can you imagine that? I'm telling you. You just said, all together, yes, we'll serve the Lord. And I said, no, you won't. How do you feel it right now? I should probably run out of here, right? Right. But he says it to them. And then they say back to him, the people say to Joshua in 21, they said, "No, but we will serve the Lord." And Joshua says to the people, "You are witnesses against yourself that you have chosen for yourself the Lord to serve him." And they said, "We are witnesses." You can't come back and say, "We didn't know what we're doing." Can you? He says, "You are witnesses against yourself. Now, therefore, put away the foreign gods which you are in your midst, and incline your heart to the Lord, the God of Israel." The people said to Joshua, "We will serve the Lord our God, and we will obey his choice." And I went, well, right? That's the church answer. We will serve the Lord. And now, if they put away this, and walked away and went back to serving God the way, why is Jesus saying the same thing here in Matthew 16? In Matthew 16, in verse 24 and verse 27, it is parallel to what Joshua told the people. Why would Christ have to say this? Because this means that's what? We haven't done what? We haven't put away the foreign idols, have we? In Matthew 16, verse 24 to 27, it is Jesus saying, then Jesus says to his disciples, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must what? Deny who? Why am I telling you to deny yourself? Because you haven't done what? Denied yourself. And then he says, take up your cross and do what? Did he say to take up Miguel's cross? No. Did he say to take up Abraham's cross? Didn't say to take up Vera's cross. Didn't say to take up Iris' cross. He said to take up whose cross? Take up your cross and do what? This is the exact same thing Joshua is saying here in when he said in Joshua 24. The reason why we're unable to take up our cross because we still haven't put away the foreign idols, the thoughts that have kept us captive. And if we haven't put that away, there's two things that we don't quite grasp yet. One, there is no fear of the Lord. Right? Because he's still playing with God. Pretending as if he doesn't know. Meaning there is no knowledge of God. Ooh. No fear of God means there's no knowledge of God. If there's no knowledge of God, there's no wisdom of God either. You scared yet? If I have no fear of God, then how am I going to serve him with sincerity and truth? Can I? Because we haven't put away the gods of our fathers. We haven't put away our own idols today, which is stopping us from worshiping his way. In 25 he says, for whoever wishes to save his life will what? Lose it. But he whoever loses his life for my sake will what? Find it. You know how we try to preserve things? For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his what? Soul. What are you willing to lose? Many of us are willing to lose the imperishable. You're willing to give up something that can never die for something that is temporary. You're willing to lose that which is more valuable than anything for something that is worthless. Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? For the soul of a man, for the Son of Man is going to come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and will then repay every man according to his what? Deeds. You will get repaid according to what you did and didn't do. Didn't say I will get repaid by what the Duffers did. Nope. So therefore I cannot blame the Duffers for what I was called to do. What does this mean? I leave you with this same warning. Watch your thoughts. Nope. Watch our thoughts. Why? They become our words. Watch our words. Why? They become our actions. Watch our actions. Why? They become our habits. Watch our habits. Why? They become our character. Watch our character. Why? They become our destiny. What we think, we become. In our ignorance, we forget to put away the foreign gods. Unless we put away the foreign God, the idols that we hold on to, we will serve God out of ignorance. And he says that worship is vain. He said these people worshiping with their mouth, but their hearts as what? Far from me. True worship is from the heart. We're worshiping in truth and in spirit. There's no other way around this. We need to understand that. All I want to do is learn to think like God. All the rest will just be what? Details. That's how it starts. Thinking as God thinks, and I walk as God walks. And so when the question asks, what's stopping us? The answer is what? Us. It's what's stopping us. It would behoove us to remove those idols so that we can worship him like he intended. Right? If you're here today, you're ready to remove those idols and you're ready to start your walk with God, we'll ask you to come on down and be baptized. Baptism, full immersion underwater, where you die to the old you and you are brought up brand new in Christ Jesus. And then, there's a caveat. He's giving you his spirit to dwell in you because he wants to be next to you. Right? Remember Joshua telling them, you can't do this because God is holy. Well, God is not putting his spirit in you so he can dwell with you. This is the only place you get this spirit. There's no accepting of into your hearts of hearts. There's no special prayers. None of that matters. When it comes to the things of God, you want to do it God's way, not man's. And if you are struggling, in need of anything, in need of prayer as well, we'll call you to come on down as we stand to sing our song.